Hi guys and good morning. It is the 29th of July 2022. I think that's the year. I almost forgot the year that we're in. Yeah, 2022, 10:47 a.m. London time. So a very important update that I'm coming live for you to cover today. And it's going to be based on the last two videos, except for the bull market review, obviously. We're just going to look at the NASDAQ, BTC, and alts. What I will say before we begin is, wherever you're tuning in from today, I hope that you are well and that you're healthy and enjoying life to a certain degree. What our general thesis for the market, turns out it was correct, okay, except for the part where we got such a deep pullback that I started to doubt the general idea. All right, and I'm going to go through what we got right, what we got wrong, and also where we're positioned, and basically the other altcoins that are lagging behind the general stance of the market. The first thing that I want to cover is, as we have been evolving, I've said the same thing over and over again for the NASDAQ. Yeah, what I had told you all was that I was expecting a rejection at red for the NASDAQ, and if we could flip red, but not basically deviate above it, but if we can flip it and move up, there's going to be a considerable move incoming, right? Both in crypto and stocks, and that is most likely. I'm just going to use a barometer here to this trend line, but because that will signal risk on for crypto. Okay, because that will signal risk on for crypto. If we close the weekly above this level, I think even temporarily it's going to lead to a pump across the market. Yeah, so we're back bullish again on crypto in general. Where I became bearish on Bitcoin was during this region, and for good reason. I don't think that was not justified. All right, I'm not going to lie to you. I got shaken out of half a position in Alice here. Right, I sold some of it because I was slightly leveraged on Alice, but I've kept the majority of other positions, and the position I have still in Alice from where I bought is more than enough. Yeah, but I had difficulty here because from here we could just continue to go down, or we could form a bearish retest and go down. Apart from that, I haven't made too many other mistakes. I'm kept strong on what I said I've acquired, or what I'm looking to acquire. Now the task is to wait until this weekly closes today, and if we can get a weekly close, then it's risk on, right? And what that means is, tomorrow, if crypto opens up towards the downside, not tomorrow, sorry, next week, if crypto opens up towards the downside, that is to be considered a discount, right? And I shared that paradigm with Dot, but certainly I gave you all the skeleton key a few weeks ago, and I don't have it anymore because I've got rid of the chart, but the skeleton key was, yeah, it's very simple. I posted this in public, in private, because at times when the market is a bit difficult, I do give things out, right? So, apologize. Here, okay, this is the paradigm that I was telling everyone to watch out for. It's really not difficult, okay? You have a high that's taken, you have a lower high retest, and at the point of the trend line snap, you can either enter or you can enter on a throwback, right? So where I was saying to look for buys, obviously sales on the inverted, was around here. We got a deep pullback, and that's where the NASDAQ rejected off range high, and now is where the NASDAQ is perhaps breaking out. Yeah, so because everything is leveraged to 1 or 2 degrees down the chain, so BTC, NASDAQ, alts, sorry, NASDAQ, BTC, alts, expecting for alts to in fact go up too. So with that, that's the paradigm done, that's NASDAQ done. This is also the perfect place for us to deviate. Yeah, I said this in the previous video, and I'm going to say it again. This categorically loves to take a high, distribute for a little while, and then puke down. It doesn't have to be any different here, right? It can definitely do something like this. And I said this in the live stream that I gave out. Easily do something like this, all right? Be very careful and very wary for that. At this point, if it slides and engulfs back below this range low, should we have any height here, that is where you start to take profit. And that is unequivocally what you want to follow. So we could even get something like this, right? So let's say if I get rid of this and I say, okay, the market wants to trap everyone, yeah? Something like this would be favorable, right? And at that point, you take a short on the NASDAQ. As I said, I was also short on the NASDAQ. I haven't often lost on this, but yeah, I shorted this general region. Perhaps I'm blown out. Perhaps my stops are blown out here, and then we move down further. Whatever, no problem. If that's the case, it's not an issue. So let's move on to BTC, and let's talk about this, yeah? So where I was right was I said that this current region here was different to the two prior consolidations we had, because I showed you that actually, right, the key level here was this, and we rammed it, we moved above it, moved back below it here, and then we've now pumped off of it. Where this was different is that because we tested it twice and we finally moved above it, yeah, it's different from these two previous regions. Where I started to get a bit shaky was here, right? What I said in the previous video is that I feel it should be competitive if we're going to move up. It turns out it wasn't that competitive. The market didn't believe it wanted to go higher. So I was slightly wrong there, and I paid for it because I should have just longed that weekly cluster. But since we did have these regions before, this could have just been an extended manifestation of these regions. In any case, we can leave that behind now, and we can look at the market as is presented, right? And as is presented, let me just present you the inverted because it takes away the tunnel vision. As is presented, what do you see, right? You don't see anything but an inefficiency on the weekly and a strong weekly trend towards the downside, with support kicking in at 27,000, but really 29,000 is where you're looking. Key level here. Okay, so the key levels are between, I'd say, 27 and 29,000. Hope that is deadly clear for you. Therefore, at current, if the weekly candle closes like it does, perhaps it does some shady shit and closes in the complete opposite direction. But for now, right, let's say the weekly open is there. I would say any move to the weekly open or below, okay, at that point, is what? To be considered a discount, yeah? And should the market do that, because look, we've taken now the previous weekly, right? We've basically traversed the entire previous week's range, yeah? So we have previous week low, previous week high. We've traversed the entire thing. Any movement back within these barriers, right, is basically a leverage trade for me, right? Considering that the NASDAQ holds up. And so that's what I want to share with you. And it's also a signal to get long. So, you know, what we're looking for within this is this could be considered a huge breaker, yeah? And so if I said to you that the premium is basically below the weekly open here, I'd like for us to trade into the 23 to 22,000 region. And if we can do that, perhaps people operate under the guise that this is yet again a quote-unquote stop raid. We move into this area, and then the parabola just kicks in from there. And that's what I'm expecting to happen based on what we're seeing in the market right now. If the NASDAQ does something different, well, then this entire context starts to dwindle or crumble a little bit. So from there, you know, I gave you the paradigm to look for alts, right? And if you're not long on specific alts, then what do you do, right? Well, the only thing to do is one, look for a discount on said alt, or number two, look for what? Okay, things that are lagging. Now, I've done my best over time to share charts that are lagging with you in asymmetric kind of environments. One of the one that I shared lately to you all was Gala. And if you look at Gala on an inverted view, you have to really just put yourself in the psychology of market participants at this point, right? If the rest of the market is moving, if the upside window is not uncontested, so if the market appears bullish and it's moving through a void and it doesn't seem anything that can threaten it for now, you know, black swan out of the question, that can happen at any time. And you have a chart like this where you have people call it power of three, other people like me call it wick retest, deviation, whatever you want to call it, right? You have a range high that is exhausted. We come up to retest it, and then we're on the back end of that movement. If you look at other charts, such as DOT, right, they've followed through, and they're following through. If you look at other charts, such as Alice, what? They've followed through, yeah? So these laggards are a great play, and needless for me to say, higher risk reward, higher amount expected of profit, right? This my English is just failing me at the moment. I apologize. Let me start again. You can justify a higher base level of risk with these types of setup, because in a window where the market is still expected to move up and you have laggards, the psychology of people is just going to be rapidly execute into them once they find them. Okay, so we have a few laggards. We have Gala, we have TLM. Okay, so if you look at this on the inverted again, you know, all you need from TLM is a weekly close or a daily close or a 3-day close below this significant level. It doesn't really matter. You just buy in these conditions and then you take profit at a new low, or when the general market moves. Another one is Theta. So if I'm going to show you this on the inverted again, Theta is much the same, right? A weekly close beneath 1.35, you put a soft stop at 1.13, you take profit 40% down, about 33% at the next key level available. Okay, so there's an inefficiency here. That's the next key level available. You look at, for example, Shiba Inu. A little bit difficult because this structure isn't my favorite one. When you have a big inefficiency, or people call it fair value gap, or whatever you want to call it, left here, reduces the probability of the setup for me, which is a funny thing. But you know, if BTC moves up, this is going to move up too, etc., etc., etc. The paradigm has been given to you. We have a HOT, right, or hollow chain, as everyone else calls it. Shouldn't be on 8cap. You want to be on Binance here. What do you have? A high, a high, a high, lower high, and then a puke. Yes, okay, we have a wick here, but I think this arcing structure here, this arcing rounded structure at least qualifies us to move down upon the general market, again having the context to carry us through to those general levels, yeah? This will be confirmed on a puke below this low. We do, you know, with some of these charts, have a lot of congestion on the way down, so don't expect an easy ride. And certainly if NASDAQ fulfills what I said it's going to do towards the downside, all right? So if we take a range high and then fail, it's going to be tough for you guys. It's going to be tough. You want to pick the setups that look like they have the biggest inefficiencies rather than choppy waters if you're looking to allocate your capital. That said, to conclude the video, you know, this doesn't have to occur. You know, the rally could be ended now. The premise that I gave you in the bull market review number 3, which I released yesterday, was that whilst these trades are good, we like to trade asymmetric windows, and whilst at least, of course, scalping lower time frames is good, the bigger picture, you want to keep it in mind at all times, okay? And that is a hedge on underperformance in the short term. So psychologically, if I miss these windows in the best way that I want, I re-employ that energy into looking into the macro scenario. Yeah, it's kind of like if you miss a pump and it pumps to endless amounts, we wait for the short, yeah? So there's always ways you can exploit edge if you miss something else. Do you understand? And for me, that is looking for coins to buy and hold for the long term. Okay, and things that I've shared with you, like Polis, like Floki, and other coins that we posted in the Discord and that are coming. I have a list of, I think, 3 or 4 more investments to share with you all low caps, or extremely low caps, with a high probability that they'll go 10x or more. Yeah, considering or considerate on us getting another cycle. Anyway, last thing to tie this video up is the current positions. So I'm long on everything I said I was long on. So Phantom, Zilliqa, Alice, Gala, Dot. But I think I have 4 or 5 positions in total, and plus Tron. Yeah, so I'm a little bit bloated, but I personally can manage those positions. Tron has been squeezing me, right? So you know, despite my long thesis on Tron, where I said that it's going to go 70 to 100% from current prices, My short-term trade was to short this area, which I did. Okay, got a candle right below these lows, and we've just squeezed up the entire amount. Tron might not be far from going parabolic, and I've said that for a long time. The trade I sent out to you guys was based on the BTC pair, and what I see from this is something very simple, right? Very, very simple. So if you look at the chart as a whole, this lower high area was the target that we were looking at, right? And basically, we are in an uptrend, yes? We broke out the lower high structure for the first time in God knows how long. Any move down below, okay, this close is a premium, all right? Sorry, not premium, a discount. The most significant level for Tron BTC is right here, yeah? There's 251. Now, if you look at the local structure, I doubt we get to 251 personally, because we have this giant wick that didn't offer us any higher low. The higher low is coming now. If you trace this structure all the way down, okay, what I think is going to happen is we're going to get something like this, where we move back into that wick area right here. You might not be able to see it, but there's a level here that I'm looking at. Okay, so it's 273 to around 280. If a bottom is expected on Tron, both in the USDT pair and BTC pair, I think at that point it's going to start going parabolic. So if you're not in, perhaps to allocate some spot at that time might be a good thing. And you can set your stop loss conditional on this just failing. Okay, that should be clear as day. That is all I want to share with you today, guys. And yeah, you know, I will come live again at some point to update it all. But don't be surprised if we pull back here. Yeah, we're on a Friday at the moment. The market is frothingly bullish, as you can probably hear in my voice, which lends to pullback type conditions. Yeah, we have a swing failure over here. We have a move into that wick area. It's fairly likely that we perhaps take this high, or we just bear retest here and come down and move up. Okay, and that is your opportunity if that happens. Thank you for tuning in today, guys. Have a lovely day. Peace.